There is a space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. I see with new eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah, there is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite, yeah, when we unite, oh, we unite, yeah, yeah, when we unite, yeah, yeah. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
Welcome to
Hi.
Center for Spiritual Living, Ocala. I am Reverend Cindy Grimes, and this is
Donna Davis. I'm one of the practitioners here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. Welcome, welcome.
Yes, we're so glad that you joined us today. It's a little bit different. If you're if you're one of our regulars, you'll know that you can see that, for one thing, we're in the same room.
Yes.
And it's not our usual place. So we're actually recording this. It's a Friday night, and tomorrow's my birthday. I'm going to be out of town for the weekend, so we thought we would do this live.
Way we don't have to worry about internet connections and all that.
Correct, correct. So we won't be answering you live, although maybe Richard will be on board answering. So anyway, I think we'll go ahead and let's get started here with our usual kind of welcome stuff. Where is it? All right. All right, we're almost there. Sorry, it's going to take Dawn out of the picture for a minute, but here we go. These are our values at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. The first thing on that list is spiritual growth and practice. That is what we're about. We're called Center for Spiritual Living. So that's what we do, is come together to learn and grow and teach one another and love on one another. That's the next thing on our list. Love and appreciation. Community is super important, is having your tribe, your people who are there to support you and where you can give your gifts and share. And we value freedom of expression, just, being free to do what we came here to do in this world and who we came here to be. We value creativity. We value health and wholeness and generosity. We're coming into, the fall, and I love that time of year and Thanksgiving, where we talk about gratitude and generosity. And also financial well-being. And let's see, the next thing here is our vision at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala is that we are a model center for spiritual living, meaning that we are just one of many centers for spiritual living that are located throughout the U.S. and the rest of the world. And we just happen to be in Ocala, Florida. So our vision is that we are a model center for spiritual living, that, other folks are looking at us and going, we want what they got. And so that is because we have a transformational impact on the members of our community, on the larger Centers for Spiritual Living organization, and on our larger community where we live. And our mission is to empower individuals to awaken to the power and presence that lies within and all around them, so they may live their best lives. And so that's it. You want to say anything about that, Donna?
It is something near and dear to my heart, because I know that knowing what an organism, oh my gosh, I can't even say the word, organization is about, really, really does make a difference for me. And it's nice to know the values and mission, and to say, yes, I'm on board with that every single time.
Yeah, me too. I think it's super important to know. So that's why we open with that every week. Yeah. It's the same opening. Anyway.
And we do it even live in person too. And we do it as a community. Everybody says them together. So that's really nice.
That's right. And it reminds us too, of what we're here for.
And why we're here.
Why we're here. Yes. So, as they know, people know, yes. Well, what we're going to do besides that, we just did our little welcome introduction, but, pray us in, because you always do it so beautifully. I love it.
So I'm just going to invite everyone to just take this moment to just get centered. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Allow that breath to move through your body. It is the very breath of life that I breathe, and I know that life is breathing my body right now. That thousands of mechanisms are put in place so that that breath may go in, be transmuted into my body, and coming out, taking with it toxins from my body. It's a beautiful cycle that I do all the time. From the moment of my birth, I have been doing this cycle to this very moment. The breath. And I know that this life is God's life, and that this life is also my life, and it's Cindy's life, and it's everybody's life right now in this very moment. And since God is everywhere, then I am sitting in that very space that God resides. And I know that from that space, that the words that I speak are God's words, and the words that you hear are God's words, and the very ear that you have is God listening. And the thoughts and the ideas and everything that comes and flows through us as we sit in this space of connection and oneness with divine energy and with life and with spiritual truths as they come forward. And we reside in that principle and that knowing that God is everywhere present in this very moment, where I sit, where Cindy sits, where everyone is. God is. I'm so grateful for this teaching. I'm grateful for today's talk. I'm grateful for this amazing concept. I'm grateful for God and how it shows up as all these authors so that the wisdom may pour through them as the vessel so that we may hear and remember who we are. And I release this into the law knowing that it's already working for the highest and best of all. And so it is. Amen. Ashe.
And so it is.
And so it is.
I don't know. You take me to another stratosphere sometimes when you do that, and then I have to come back and I'm asking questions here today.
So you're doing the producing. They can see you with your little rolly thing.
See me with my rolly. All right. The curtain has been pulled back.
The curtain. Oh no, we have a whole team.
Oh no, it's me and my little mouse here. All right. Oh my goodness. So this month, well, go back again, just for anybody who might be watching for the first time, that we are doing the work of See No Stranger. Valerie Kaur is the author of this amazing book, See No Stranger. And the Revolutionary Love Project is a curriculum that flowed from that book. And so every month we've been talking about a different aspect of this idea of revolutionary love, right? Which is like that unconditional agape kind of love, right? And
this is CSL in motion. Like I've had people ask me, then how come we don't talk a lot about Ernest Holmes and don't talk a lot about, CSL stuff? But I'm like, this is CSL in motion. It's the practicing and living and the breathing, and the very thing that Ernest Holmes talked about is taking this and making it spiritual practice. And so picking apart Valerie's work has just been wonderful and really bringing us to that space of, oh my goodness, it's a different way to look at it. Yeah. And I think she makes it very clear, very, very clear.
It's deep work. It's deep work. And like, this is where the rubber meets the road. I joke around about, how you can be spiritual while you're laying on your yoga mat, and then you go out in traffic and, all that goes out the window.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
but this is me before. And then the more that I do it and the more that I practice, the easier and easier it is for me to come back to center. And once I can come back to center, and the breath is it, man, just that deep breath in. Our daughter Lore calls it the reset. She used to do that when she was a teenager. And I used to think she was just like really upset with us because she would do this whole, and she says, Mom, it's the reset. I'm like, oh. And I stopped looking at I stopped looking at as a, like something towards me. She said, please don't take it personally. It's just a reset. I'm allowing my body to reset so that I may then take the next step. And I thought,
that's great.
That's powerful.
That's a lot of wisdom. Your daughter's very wise.
Oh man, all our kids, man, they open their mouth. If you're paying attention, your child will definitely teach you some stuff.
For real.
Those babies, though.
For real. Oh, which brings us to this month, what we're talking about, right? The analogy, I love it, of giving birth. Oh, and this idea that the times that we're living in now are just, pretty dark. Mm-hmm. And you're a frontline worker, and I know you're seeing it. And even people in our congregation, folks are having a hard time emotionally, socially, people dying. There's a lot of difficulty. So her phrase or her question, what if this isn't the darkness of the tomb, but the darkness of the womb? Mm-hmm. And I just think that's so powerful, powerful, because we know that what we think about, we bring about. Absolutely. Everything begins in thought first. Mm-hmm. Right. So if we can start looking at this difficult time, or whatever time you may be going through that may be dark, maybe it's not now, maybe it's something that's coming, but to see that it's like that incubation period.
Right.
For something new.
And I've been thinking about it as, yes, this birth analogy, but I was thinking about, what if you're not only the one giving birth, but you're also the midwife. The one that's the midwife.
Yeah.
And you're the one birthing the new idea. And it feels like this struggle and this strain and this stress to bring this new idea forward. But then what if you're also the doctor? On the other end, the doctor has this expectation and this wonder and this and it's messy. What they're looking at is messy, but they don't focus on the mess. They're and I mean, it gets intense, but at that little pinpoint of possibility that's coming closer and closer and closer, and they are just waiting to catch it and hold it close and watch it grow. And I've been using that analogy because of talking about that birthing process and all of that. And I went through it physically, and I remember the first time I went through it, and I was terrified. I was only 19 when I gave birth. Well, no, wait. I had just turned 21. That's right. Just turned 21. And it was just like, wow, you know, and like all those years kind of meshing, because you went from being a child to, whoa, now I'm adult because I have to step out of the child role. There's another child, you know, so now I have to step out of the child role. And I think that's happening to a lot of young people, even during this time of COVID. And as we're coming back, a lot of our young people had to step out of child. The last time we saw them, they were kids, you know, 17, 18, and now they're 20, 21, 22. And we're like, whoa, what happened? A pandemic happened.
It's a lot of transition happening, a lot of transition. And that's actually what we're going to talk about next month is transition. So in this conversation of loving ourselves, right? Revolutionary love is loving others. It's loving our opponents, but it's also loving ourselves. And so I think, well, what I feel like I'm doing with this series, what we've been doing is bringing together kind of two sides of the conversation. So there are the more spiritually oriented, like, you know, I do my practice and I do my yoga and whatever, you know, like it's a very internally focused thing. And then there are people who are more activists, who are out there doing things in the world, and I actually had somebody one time saying, I don't want to hear any of that nonsense of it starts within. The world out there needs to change. I was like, okay, you know, so I think what I see us doing is both, you know, we do our inner work, but we do our work outside too. We do our work in our relationships with other people.
And that's the thing. It's like, yes, you want to kumbaya all day because it feels good, or we just want to hang out with each other because, you know, we totally vibe with each other, but we still have to go to the grocery store.
Well, and then
we still have to go to the doctor's office, and we still got to get gas. And,
but even when you love somebody dearly, there's still going to be those moments where you don't see eye to eye, right? So, so it's just good practice all around to think of this idea of loving everybody, right? Loving ourselves, loving others, and loving people when we disagree.
Yeah. And asking yourself, you know, what is that person going through? What is it that they need right in this moment? Eddie Watkins Jr. has this amazing song, What Would Love Do Now? You know, just stop yourself and in this moment, ask what would love do? And I love that song because, you know, it's just before you say something you can't take back, what would love do now? And that song plays in my head a lot.
There's lots of our music that plays in my
New
head,
thought music just does that to you.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, you know, we could squirrel, but I'm gonna let me bring us back.
The two of us together is horrible. We're squirrely, very squirrely.
So
all right.
So this month we're talking about this idea of pushing, right? So last month we talked about the concept of breathing and loving ourselves, just taking that time to breathe. This month we're talking about the other side of that, when it's time to push. And those of us who've given birth, either physically, metaphorically, you know, there's time for both. There's time when you breathe and there's time when you push. And so today I want to talk about what happens when we push and you hit that upper limit. You know what I'm talking about? So I'm reading a book with some friends. It's a really, you know, lots of people in New Thought have read it, and it's called The Big Leap. And the idea is that many of us have this kind of upper limit for the good that we can tolerate in our lives, right? And so maybe you finally hit a point where everything is working, right? The finances are there and the relationships are good and your health is good and everything. And you go like, it's too good to be true.
Yeah. Waiting for
this can't last.
Drop.
Waiting for the shoe to drop. Exactly. And you hit that point.
The shoe's going to drop at any moment.
Yes. and then something does happen.
Yes.
Something
and it
happens.
proves it. It just validates exactly what you were saying. And that's why we have to be careful about what we're saying. We have to be careful, because the minute you say it, you're like, oh, wait. And a lot of us say, cancel, cancel, cancel. But it's not that we're telling the universe, cancel, cancel. We're telling our mind, wait a minute, I'm picking a different thought. I forgot I was doing this new thought thing. So let me pick a different thought,
Yes.
And that's when that cancel, cancel comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we can pick something different.
Right. Because the other stuff gets so ingrained.
And it's easy to fall back because it's muscle memory.
Well, because it happens in childhood, right? We make up these decisions about ourselves, or we're told things, and we make up these stories about who we are and our value and our worth. And so when we start to live what seems beyond that, we'll self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Unintentionally.
It's almost like there's a little piece of you that says, no, you're not. That little voice of, you think you got it. No, you don't.
Right.
And then you start saying, wait, maybe I don't have it. Maybe I'm not this. Maybe and you start to like allow yourself to fall into the rabbit hole that is self-doubt and pity and
the imposter syndrome.
Yes. I feel like I'm a fraud. That was the biggest one for me. When I did Life Lift with Ted, we'll tell you all about Life Lift later. But with Ted, man, when that came as my constant reoccurring self-sabotaging belief was that, what if somebody finds out I'm a fraud? Holy mackerel, I think I might be a fraud. Maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. Oh my God, I think I'm fooling everybody, including myself. Oh geez, what if God was to show up right now? What would I look at the face of God and say? All this stuff pops up right as you're about to,
go into the next level.
That plateau, man.
Yeah.
But that happens in birth. Like in the birthing process, because like at the very beginning of it, you're pushing, and there's a moment where they go, stop. And the doctors have to rearrange some stuff with the baby and move some stuff out of the way. Okay, now. And you have that last push, and then voila, you have baby.
Yeah.
But there's a moment when they say, oh, there's crowning, stop. And I think that's what it is. We get to that moment of, oh, wait, I can see the edge. We're about to go over.
Yeah.
And all the fear of, oh my God,
Right. The point of no return.
Yeah. Like the roller coaster, man, click, 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 click.
Right.
And you get up to the very top and you're like, you all know the roller coaster part where you're at the very top, like, where's the rest of the roller coaster? Right before it does that dip.
Yeah. So it's important to know when you hit that limit so that you don't self-sabotage. Right.
How do you know you hit the limit?
How do you know you hit the limit? Well, I'll tell you, it just happened to me at Big Sky. And so people who've been following know I had the opportunity to be a speaker at Big Sky Retreat. It was something that I spoke 5 years ago, the first time I went. And I was so excited to I'm finally going to be on stage and share this message about peace building. And I put a lot of time and effort into it. And actually, when we got to Big Sky, I spent a whole day creating these workshop experiences for people to do after, hearing my talk, that they would want to sign up and do this class with me. And so I did my talk. I actually got a standing ovation, which was another part of the awesome. The manifestation. Wouldn't it be cool, as I'm imagining this moment. And I know what happened now in retrospect, but I couldn't wait to get off stage. It was the craziest thing. I'm getting a standing ovation and I just want to bolt. So I get off the stage and Grady says, "You didn't say anything about your classes." I'm like, oh my God. I didn't I blew my big chance, was how I felt. Yeah. Anyway, it ended up resolving really, really beautifully. And, thank you so much to David Alt the next day for his testimonial about about my talk. But it really did make me I came home and I thought about it. What was that about? It felt like my big chance. It was all here. And there I was in the moment. And I felt like I blew it.
You blanked out.
But so I, hitting that upper limit. And, but what it did actually was it took me back to sixth grade awards ceremony. I got 7, 8 awards. I was getting everything there was. And the first award was good. The second award was good. And then like the third one, I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. And then the fourth one, I want to disappear as I'm walking past my friends who were in class with me, who I knew worked really hard. And like, you know, when you're a kid, you don't want to stand out from anybody else.
Yeah.
I want to be like everybody else. I don't want them to hate me. You know,
Right.
remember that commercial?
Goody two
Don't
shoes.
hate me because I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, don't hate me because
You don't want to be the goody two shoes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't want to be on display. And so it really took me back to that point. Right. So yeah, so that was my moment. And how do you get out of it? Well, you know what, before we get into that, we'll come back to that story and how I'm out on the other side now that I can talk about it. But do you have one? Do you have any?
I know I've done it before, and I was racking my brain as to an example where I could think of, but I think.
Well, let me give you a couple what Gay Hendricks says that we know we've hit that upper limit. You feel like you're broken. You know, you feel like you're fundamentally flawed. There is something wrong with me. I'm beyond repair. Right. That can be playing. There can be the sense that if that success could be a burden. Right. So now on the front line, people are going to expect more from me. People are going to want things from me. I'm not going to be able to deliver. That's another manifestation. There's also not wanting to leave others behind. You know, not wanting to abandon people.
Yeah, like Survivor series.
Yeah, exactly.
Survivor.
A survivor's guilt
Survivor's
that happens.
guilt,
Yeah. And then there's not wanting to outshine other people, which was my thing. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it came down to. So I think, and we probably have I imagine everybody has their thing.
Yeah.
If you don't see yourself in all of those situations and, you know, those
I've
kind
had
of thought
several
patterns.
of those situations and thought patterns. And I think one of the biggest ones changed the way I sang, because I love to sing. And I've been performing poetry most of my life. My family used to always ask me, because I had a really good memory, so I could memorize like the entire play and just recite the whole thing. And so they would ask me to do poetry. And so back home, it's one of the things we do. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I can't be too loud, because I was already too dark and too bright and too everything, too much.
And you're tall.
And I'm tall and very thin, and everybody's staring at me. And I thought, okay, when I started at the center, the space was small. It's a small room, and I'm already, and sometimes I laugh and I joke and I call myself the Jolly Brown Giant, because there's so much Jolly, but then it's like, I'm a big giant, and I'm not even that big, y'all. I'm only 5'9". So anyway, I went up on the stage and stood on the thing, and I was like, oh my God, I could reach up and touch the ceiling. And then I thought, yeah, if I open my mouth and really start to sing, it's going to be too much. And I could see people going, what in the world? So I would try to pull back and pull back. And Reverend Peggy was the one that was like, I want you to close your eyes. And when you sing, I want you to pretend like this room is an auditorium with 5,000 people. And just sing. Because I was having difficulty. My throat kept, me. I was going through a whole bunch of stuff right before I have to get up on stage. And then when she said it to me, I thought, okay, let me do it more and more. And I almost had to kind of inch out a little bit. And I kept looking at the audience and hoping nobody was doing this number. So yeah, that was a big one for me. And then I really started singing.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh, just turn down the mic, duh.
Right.
Or just no mic.
Oh my gosh, I hit another upper limit on one of the cruises in the ministerial program. We were doing the karaoke contest, and George Stewart, Reverend George, and I made it into the finals, and it was over several days. And of course, I wake up with laryngitis. Like, oh, I can't sing. I can't. And I knew, I knew this had to be something to do with, some kind of unconscious fear. I mean, come on, like, but that's another manifestation, right?
That's what
like,
we do. You'd be like, I can't go on.
That'll happen, right? I can't go on. Yeah. So everything is going really well. So you'll get sick, right? You can't make the last moment.
Oh, I have a really big one for that. Okay. I was in nursing school, y'all. And fibromyalgia likes to come with something we call IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. So when you're really super
Oh, is
stressed
this going to be
out,
too TMI?
oh my God, when we're really stressed out, yo, I was so stressed out about that test in nursing school that my body revolted. And I spent half of that test in the bathroom, even though there was a teacher with me. And because I didn't have an accommodation in place for that, they couldn't let me finish the test.
Oh, wow.
And I had to repeat the class.
That's definitely,
It was the most embarrassing thing to have to walk back into that class to say, I failed this class. And I had to retake it. And everybody was like, and I was like, how am I going to ever be a nurse? And here I am sitting now as a frontliner.
So let me ask you something. Did you know the material before you took the test?
I don't know. I kept telling myself I'm a terrible test taker. It's one of the records that goes around and around in my head.
So there you already have the self-limiting belief, right?
Yeah,
you were telling yourself that I'm a terrible
test taker.
Yes.
I don't like math. Me and math don't get along. Oh yeah, I've been, that was one of the records I kept playing. So now whenever math shows up, dosage calculation, anything like that, because it was one of the things that, was kind of used against me growing up. Oh, she's got issues with math, or I would flip it around or whatever. And I'm like, what is wrong with me with math? And now I'll say, oh, me and math are becoming friends.
So it can be turned around.
Yes, but
that's the thing, right? The upper limit.
I had to kind of say, no, I'm choosing another thought, even though I felt like I was lying to myself when I said it. Mm-hmm. Me and math are becoming friends. I'm like, and there's something that over here is going, you're right. Sure. You still got that number wrong, Yeah. But I had to keep saying it and over again. And then I ended up passing dosage count, no problem, and doing really well in math. And and now I'm like looking back thinking, why did I do that to I made myself sick.
Right.
All because of that. And your body will revolt.
Well, there's, some part of us that is not conscious of this, right? This is the part that's kind of underneath the surface. We see the behavior, this like basic peace building principle. It's like the iceberg idea, right? Yeah. So what you see, the outward manifestation, the behavior is just the tip of the iceberg, which is like 15% of its whole mass. That means 85% is happening underneath. It's needs and feelings and drives and values and things that you can't see that are driving the thing.
And culture. Yes. Oh my goodness. Culture has things. A huge, huge role in it.
Right.
All the stuff, that says that even women don't do this.
Exactly.
Or boys don't do this. Just having that pushing against you on top of the so if a boy was out there about to become like world skating champion or something like that, limiting belief system that's boys don't skate, they're not pretty, they're not,
right.
And you find out then that they have to push against that, and every day say, nope, I'm good, nope, I'm okay, no, I'm gonna get out there.
Well, and the other thing I think, we're using the word push, but it doesn't have to be a forceful thing.
No.
Right? Pushing is really just about the willingness to lean into that thing, right? So we can lean in with curiosity. Like, I really didn't beat myself up too long over the the big sky thing, because it was a great experience. It really was a great experience. And I look at things and go, okay, what is there for me to learn in this situation? There's always going to be something. So I'm curious. What was playing underneath, the surface of my iceberg that had me get off the stage like that. So, so I went back to that story, right? That memory of sixth grade. So then how do you prevent it from happening? How do I keep myself from sabotaging? Because I've got some things, some big projects that are getting ready to break through, the other side. And I don't want to sabotage it. I want to be able to love my life. I'm healthy. My relationships are good. I do work that I love, so I've got a lot of good things going, and I'm going to do what I can to not sabotage myself again.
You just tell yourself you're not going to do it.
Well, for one thing, it's noticing it, right?
Yeah.
noticing that I have a tendency, or when that kind of thing might come up. But the other thing is to just, instead of being afraid of it's not going to last, or, you know, when it's going to go wrong, all those kind of things, is to just be in gratitude.
Yeah. Be like, you know,
To
even
just
even if it doesn't, because that little devil on your shoulder is going to pop up and say, hey, just wait.
Yeah.
But then you say, you know what? And if it does, then it's okay.
You know,
I'm still grateful for the moment.
That's it. Exactly. It's being in the moment. It's being
Yeah.
present. It's taking that time to breathe, which has to be right here, right now, right? Not yesterday. We can't breathe for tomorrow, can't hold it, you know, and save it up. It's always in the moment. So it's like coming back to the present moment, right? Breathing and just giving thanks. You know, so Big Sky was an amazing event, and I'm grateful that I had that opportunity, and I'm grateful that it showed me something about myself, that I could be more gentle with myself. And here was the other thing. Feeling like the message that I have to deliver is important enough for me to get past my stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, the what is the Emerson? There's a quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson that's something about getting your bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits. And I think, you know, the imagery of that, for me, it's so gross. Get your bloated nothingness out. It just makes me laugh. So like, that's how, you know, you can't take yourself
Hot
too
air.
seriously. Get your hot air. Just get yourself out of the way.
Yeah, I'm like,
you
Donna,
know,
shut up. Get out of it.
Yeah,
Stop
you know,
it.
do what you came here to do. Like, I came to deliver a message. I did it. There you go.
There you go.
That's it.
The right people heard.
Get my bloated nothingness out of the way. You know,
plant the seed and walk away, man.
That's right. You can't be attached.
You can't dig it up to see if it's growing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You just have to plant the seed and say, okay, I did my thing. And just now, I wait. And just be in expectation of something wonderful.
Joyous.
Yes.
Yes.
And if something is horrible is going to happen, then you say, okay, but what if something wonderful happens instead?
Yeah.
Just think of a different thought. But just be nice to yourself while you're doing it. Don't, you know, beat up on yourself and say, oh my God, I can't believe I went back there.
Well, you know, I mean, I think, I don't know. It happens.
It does. It happens.
It happens.
And sometimes it blindsides you and you have no idea that you're going to do it. It just happens. And then you're like, oh, it got away from me.
Right. Well, you know, like what happened to me.
Yeah.
In the moment, who would have thought? Like, this is the moment I was waiting for, and I couldn't wait to get off stage.
I think it worked out beautifully because the endorsement the next day was just incredible by David Alt.
Yeah.
So that was good.
And I really did learn something, because
and in nursing school, I became a much, much better nurse because I had to repeat that class. I really got the foundations of nursing, and I met one of my very, very best friends doing it. So had I not done it, then I would not have been able to link up with this girl and actually go and do our tests together. And, you know, we studied together. I mean, it's because of that class. So,
you know, and that goes into the faith part of just, you know, just deciding, actually, I think deciding that something good is going to come out of whatever the situation may be. We make that decision, and we look for it. And what we look for shows up. I mean, that's just straight up biblical, isn't it?
I know. So
Seek and you shall find.
It's so cool. I love it.
Right?
Love it.
So you're looking for the good outcome. You're looking for the nugget. You're looking for the new birth. And that's what you're going to find.
Yeah. We are on the cusp of this amazingness when it comes to CSL Ocala. And I'm just really super excited about it. The way that we're showing up in our community and this hybrid thing that we're doing is really, it's just so neat and so different. And I love it. I love being able to have these conversations.
Yes.
I think it's super cool.
I'm glad you said that, because we'll just keep the suspense going. But we're talking about how we're gonna return to in person, you know, what that's gonna look like. And I don't think it's gonna look like what it was.
No.
So I'm excited about some new possibilities, and you know,
because there's, you know, the internet is this beautiful thing, and there's all these people out there, y'all, doing this amazing work, and it's just wonderful to know that our community is no longer in the little box.
It's not just Ocala. There's people
Yeah.
that are watching us from all over the
Yeah.
place. So our congregation, our tribe has grown tremendously.
Absolutely. And they're not just, yeah, like you said, not just CSL Ocala. So you may have other CSLs. It's now more like an interwoven, mandala of CSLs that are sharing each other's messages and showing up on each other's feeds and commenting and, cheering each other along. And I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, it's time.
It is
It's
time.
time.
It is time.
People are hurting, and we have an important message.
I believe so. I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah. So that supersedes anything else.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Any drama, any kind of playing small, feeling like imposter, like all of that stuff. Just put that bloated nothingness to the side, right?
Yeah.
And
And just step out of
and
the
step
way and
out.
just open your mouth and let God fill it and let it just come through you. Be a vessel for divine spirit to be used in that way. Ricky Byers said, "Use me, oh God."
Yes.
I love it.
I can't wait till we can sing again
I
in
know,
person.
yeah.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
So I'm looking at time. I think we're probably, I don't know, we might even be over a little bit, but
Okay. It was a good conversation.
it was a good conversation.
like
So
talking to you.
push on through, right? When you
Yeah.
hit that ceiling, and
Yeah.
don't wait for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah. And David he said it's not the floor. You're not back on the floor. You're actually on the floor of the other room.
Of the next room.
Yeah.
Of
So
the next level.
that ceiling now becomes your floor. And then that ceiling becomes your floor. So when you think you're on the floor again and you're thinking, oh God, I can't believe I'm here again, you're actually on the second floor. And then you go up and now you're on the third floor. But you're still, it's a floor. It feels like a floor, but it's actually the other ceiling. Isn't
Another
that
great
cool?
metaphor.
I love it.
Yes. Awesome. Well, with that, I guess we'll wrap it up. So we'll be catching up again next week.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to do Zoom this
Oh.
this Sunday. Yeah, the 10th. We're not going to be doing the Zoom afterward because we're not live. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway, so let's see. What do we have here next? The next part of our conversation here is, boy, it's a little hard to see. Is this our text to tithe?
Yes.
CSL Ocala, text to tithe. So I don't know. Why do you think tithing is important in giving, Donna?
It's a spiritual practice. So I used to have a lot of issues around tithing because I was very much in the church before. And, I just felt like, oh my God, they just want your money. There was always that feeling like they just always want your money. And when I started really activating tithing and doing the 10%, I don't know what it is about that just seems to magically make something happen. But I did the 5 Gifts in Abundant Life. We did that course, and then we did Mary Morrissey's course. And those two, when I started really saying, okay, I'm really going to actually do the 10% now, it made a huge difference. And I went from food stamps to now where we are today as a frontline nurse. And it really made a huge thing. It changed the way I looked at my finances and the way that I looked at the way income comes into my life. Because before I thought I had to work this many hours to get this much money. But once I realized that I activated this law, then I was able to just sit in receiving and knowing that I'm already in the flow. And that spirit is the investor. Spirit's the one that sends it to you in different flows.
You have such an amazing story. And if people knew what your original upper limit was,
yeah,
and how your upper limit keeps going up and up and up and up.
Yeah. And I'm at the end. I'm right at the top
of another one.
Roller coaster going,
we're at another one.
Where's the rest of the oh no.
But we keep stepping up, you know, and we keep giving.
We do it anyway.
We do it anyway. Yeah.
Be scared out of your mind and do it
anyway. Yes.
Because at the end of the day, you can look back and say, whoa, that was a great ride.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to step into that spiritual practice of tithing. I do it auto tithe is what I do. It just automatically comes out of my paycheck and I don't have to even think about it. So it doesn't trigger my little beast that tends to go into whatever. Oh my God, I don't have enough. You know, that kind of lack mentality that shows up for my my primal self.
Yeah. The early hardwiring.
The early hardwiring
Yeah,
that comes, that lack mentality. When it
Yes.
shows back up, it doesn't get triggered as much when I do auto tithe, because I know that I'm in the flow.
Mhm.
And then anything extra that comes to us, we just off the top, 10%. If you
Mhm.
wait until the bottom, y'all, you ain't gonna do it. Because when you get to the bottom, you're like, oh my God, the coffers are empty and now I need gas. I'm just saying, do it from the top and
Mhm.
watch what
Yeah.
happens. And
give
this-
someplace, right? I
Yeah.
mean, of course we want people to give CSL Ocala.
well, of course, especially
know,
if they're
that's-
watching us. Hello.
Well, and yes, and if this is where they're being spiritually fed, that's how it works.
Yeah. But if
So-
you get spiritually fed by, I use candles too. I do like 10% of my 10%, and that's my special tithe. And I
Mhm.
learned that too from
Mhm.
CSL Ocala. So
Yeah.
the special tithe goes to like my incense and my stones and my candles and stuff like that. Bubble bath. Hello. I have lots of spiritual moments just in that environment. So
Yeah.
I look that as my nourishment as well, and so I give to that as well.
Awesome. So for people who want to donate via text to tithe, you can also the numbers scrolling across the bottom. If you have a smartphone, what you do is text to that phone number and you put in the amount of money that you want to give CSL and hit send, and it goes from your account to ours. Once it's set up, you have to set it up first, but it's super easy. And
we're not the only ones that have that sort of thing. So look into your favorite charity if that's what you want to do. But just activate that law and you'll see.
Yes, give, and you receive.
Yep.
Yep. So I think, let me see, we've got our little affirmation here. I'll go ahead and say it. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. All right. Now, how do we? I'm producing by myself here too.
You just passed the closing prayer.
Did I pass the closing prayer? The other thing I want to do, Richard made another banner here for prayer requests. Here we go.
Yeah.
Look at that. For people that want to get prayer from myself, from Donna, from Norma, our practitioners, people send in their prayer requests and we will do affirmative prayer for you, either on our own, or if you need to hear it and you want to give us a call, we would be glad to do that for you. So that is the way to send us prayer requests. What else? Anything else, Donna?
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Oh, we don't have a slide. We're going to have to just tell people about it. Rocky Horror.
Rocky Horror. It's just a jump to the left and a step to the right. Time warp, y'all. We are doing it at CSL Ocala, and it's coming up. I'm so excited. We have an Eventbrite. It's on Eventbrite. It's also on our Facebook page. It is on Meetups, I believe, as well. And it is coming. And Rocky Horror Picture Show is wonderful. It's a great classic that I don't know. The music is just incredible, and it's fun to get dressed up. And yes, we're a spiritual center, and you get to get dressed up and jump around and do the time warp. Yes.
It's going to be super fun. I think we're going to have to watch it again and look for the metaphysical.
Oh yeah, that would be really
Rocky
cool.
Horror.
Yeah, because we're each character is us. Every single one is us, and each character goes through its thing. So I think it's really kind of cool.
Yes,
and it's fun to dress up.
It's going to be. So when is it? Do you remember? I know it's on a Friday. Check your calendar.
I will let you know right now because it's
Friday. I think it's the 22nd.
22nd. Yep, you got it. The 22nd.
And tickets are free.
Tickets are free.
Tickets are free, but you have to get tickets. You can't just show up. So
yes,
get your
ticket.
Because
the space is limited. So you get your ticket. They are free. We will have a concession stand and a little goodie bag that you can, have fun with, like rice and all that. You know how it is when you go to Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, so, I clicked another banner there. I don't know how that happened.
I have no clue what happened either.
All right. I think it's time for us. Let me hide that banner, and then we will do our prayer for protection. And anything else, Donna?
That's it. That's all I got. I feel complete.
Oh, good,
Yes.
good. I'm feeling a little flustered at the moment.
It's okay. Forgive yourself and move on.
Yes, yes, it's all good. So we'll
Yes.
do this closing prayer. Here we go. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yes. Yes, yes. We
And
know
so
all
it
is
is.
well, and so it is. And so we thank you for being with us. And I'm just affirming that all is well in your world as you go into your week. And just know that you meet any circumstances, any challenges that look like they're in front of you and blocking you. They're not blocking you. They're stepping stones to something better.
And just say to yourself, it scares me to death, but I'll do it anyway. Enjoy.
Enjoy.